coming up on this edition of Southwest TV News.
We often talk about frost nip. Well, this is a kind of a mild form of frostbite where the skin kind of freezes, but the flesh underneath doesn't. It gives you kind of maybe a painful, tingling, or a burning sensation.
Dressing for the weather is key for all ages, especially when wind chill factors come into play. Winters in Saskatchewan can vary from year to year when it comes to the weather and road conditions. And Saskatchewan Highways and Infrastructure is reminding motorists to slow down and drive safely, and be aware of snowplow operators along the highway.
And what it is an opportunity for people to get rid of old clunkers, basically cars that are sitting around that you just want moved.
And as the SPCA tries to come up with creative ideas for fundraising throughout the year, it's now joined forces with Donate a Car Canada. Thanks for joining us here today. Well, we still have several weeks of winter still ahead of us, and the temperature will likely drop throughout the season. And you're reminded to know the signs of frostbite. Winters in Saskatchewan offer an array of opportunities for outdoor activities. And as you plan to take advantage of the outdoor rinks and other favorite pastimes, dressing for the weather is key for all ages, especially when wind chill factors come into play.
You know, we need to be, even in this modern day with polar fleece garments and all kinds of insulation and that, we need to take the winters seriously. We often talk about frost nip. Well, this is a kind of a mild form of frostbite where the skin kind of freezes, but the flesh underneath doesn't. It gives you kind of maybe a painful, tingling, or a burning sensation, and it's sort of nature's kind of little heads up that, hey, you're in a dangerous situation. You should seek get indoors or warm up those parts of your anatomy that seem to be hurting a bit. And then there is frostbite, where it's a much more severe condition, where both the skin and the underlying tissue or fat or muscle or bone actually do freeze. And we often, in seeing in those situations, you get kind of a white or a waxy, kind of a hard to touch kind of feeling. And sometimes there's no sensation, and that's the problem, is that people are just, their flesh is frozen, but they aren't necessarily feeling the pain that goes with it. And clearly there are issues there, and people should be attended to, first aid, or even bring them to medical facilities to have that looked after.
And if you're planning a road trip, be prepared with an emergency kit, a fully charged cell phone, and be informed of the weather forecast in advance, as the weather can change quickly on the prairies. By taking a few simple precautions, you can make the most of the winter season, whether you're enjoying the great outdoors or taking a day trip out on the roadway. As highway crews are busy clearing roadways across the province this winter, motorists are being reminded to keep a safe distance behind these vehicles. Winters in Saskatchewan can vary from year to year when it comes to the weather and road conditions. And Saskatchewan Highways and Infrastructure is reminding motorists to slow down and drive safely, and be aware of snowplow operators along the highway, with new legislation now in place for passing snowplows.
In the past, there was a little bit confusion as to, well, can I pass a snowplow? Can I not? Exactly what it is. So the legislation has been amended slightly to say that anytime you see the blue and yellow lights flashing, if the vehicle is stationary on the side of the road, it's treated like any other emergency vehicle. It's treated the same as a police car or an ambulance or a tow truck, where you're required to slow to 60 when passing. And that also includes if on a two-lane road you're heading in one direction and they're stationary on the other side of the road, you still need to slow to 60 on that. Whereas if the vehicle is moving, it's actively either salting or sanding the road or perhaps plowing the road, motorists are allowed to overtake the snowplow, provided it's safe to do so.
And motorists should keep a safe distance behind a snowplow or sanding truck, as whiteout conditions can occur, as the snowplow operator is clearing a stretch of the highway, as numerous collisions with snowplows have occurred in recent years.
In the last 5 years, we've actually had 24 incidences, and they have enough on the go as it is in the cab. There's a lot of controls that they're doing, and looking out for bridges and other obstacles, and so there's a lot going on, and it's difficult for them to keep track of where motorists are behind them because they're also obscured by that snowplow that's behind them. And so, motorists got to be very careful about that. And so far this season, it hasn't been too bad. But on January 6th, we had 2 incidences up around Saskatoon, and fortunately, nobody was hurt in those incidents. But they do happen, and they are avoidable.
Road conditions are updated 3 times daily on the Saskatchewan Highway Hotline's website, with motorists advised to be aware of any weather alerts or road closures before embarking on their travels.
I'm Vera Saltzman. I'm from Fort Qu'Appelle, Saskatchewan, and I'm represented by Slate Gallery in Regina, and I am a photographer. It's just one of those mediums that I've always been drawn to, and it has a lot of versatility. Like, I think a lot of people now with photography think of iPhones and that type of thing, and they don't look at all of the different processes with film and alternative processes that you can use. Primarily, I work with landscape and portraiture, I would say. A lot of times I'm just looking for things that remind me of home, to be honest. So it could be anything. When I first started shooting elevators, I was kind of a little hesitant that it was, well, everybody shoots elevators, but you soon realize that people really appreciate the elevators, and it's sort of like, for me, they're like the lighthouses of the prairies. In Nova Scotia, where I grew up, people are trying to save the lighthouses. Here in Saskatchewan, we're trying to save the grain elevators. So definitely, I think that plays into it. I shoot with film, 120 medium format film, with a Hasselblad camera. So, and then I scan. I develop the negatives myself, and then I scan them and bring them into Photoshop and post-produce them there. I think a lot of times people question, why do you use film in this world of digital? But film, for me, really slows me down. I find that the digital world is really overwhelming. I don't know what to do with 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 pictures. 12 on a roll of film, I can manage. Once I scan the negatives and bring them into Photoshop to be post-produced, that gives me the opportunity to play with the palette and to play with the feel of the image. I think that there's a real melancholy about these images. They're definitely desaturated compared to a normal photograph that you might see. In the digital world, we have a real way of producing photographs so that they're very saturated, and now that's sort of what we're used to seeing in pictures. So to bring it the other way kind of throws people off a bit.
Well, if you have an old car lying around your backyard collecting rust, you can help out the SPCA and clear up your yard at the same time. The Swift Current SPCA offers shelter to numerous pets throughout the year, and while offering this transition into their forever home, costs for its day-to-day operations are a challenge, as the SPCA relies solely on donations from the community.
No provincial or federal funding at all, and we're not funded by the Saskatchewan SPCA either, which is something that I think not everyone knows. We do operate as separate organizations with different mandates. So we do what we can do with the community support, and we're really pleased with what happened in 2018. So a big thank you to the community, not only for the donations, but it was also a really busy year for us with 425 plus pets served through the shelter. So the other big thank you is to the community for coming and adopting pets from us, because that allows us more capacity for more pets to come in.
And as the SPCA tries to come up with creative ideas for fundraising throughout the year, it's now joined forces with Donate a Car Canada.
Yeah, really pleased. We've had, I think, 2 or 3 donations so far, so people are starting to hear about it. And what it is an opportunity for people to get rid of old clunkers, basically cars that are sitting around that you just want moved. And we can make arrangements through our partnership with Donate a Car Canada for them to come take the car. And there'd be a small donation from the scrap metal for that vehicle, and that comes to the SPCA, and we're able to provide a charitable receipt for the value of that. So just another interesting way that people can help us out.
To find out more information about the Donate a Car Canada program, log on to the Swift Current SPCA's website or give them a call directly. Well, this brings to a close another episode of Southwest TV News, reporting the stories that matter to you. We always welcome your news tips. You can always reach us here by phone at our studio or by email to contact us at southwesttvnews.com. Also, be sure to join us daily online for the latest news from across Southwest Saskatchewan and so much more at southwesttvnews.com. And be sure to follow us on a range of social media. Thanks for joining us here today. I'm Carol Andrews.